Justin's Monster Obsession. Now, it's been a whole while since we've had a video for season 2, but I've been waiting since the last season to upload this. This is literally the climax of the relationship between me and Justin. If anybody wants to know who Justin is on my channel, Justin was a heavy haymaker back in the day who gave my 8th grade a lot of trouble. 8th grade was literally the year where I went above and beyond, and it shows you how different classes in society work. How literally you could be the best character, but if you're surrounded by a bunch of hyenas, you will not get your chance to shine, even though you deserve it. The hyenas are the ones that are in charge. So I'll put it like this: Justin, after I beat Geo, after I literally become MVP of 8th grade, after I'm known for having part of my iPod, after I'm known for literally keeping up with everybody, after I finally learned how to pop and lock, after I did everything, Justin had no more ammo to use against me. But what he did have was he had a plan involved in order to trap me. So it came down to this. So I'm gonna make another video called the 8th grade stummer, which might be season 3. I don't even think I'm gonna make it season 3, to be honest with you. I was gonna end off this season really well because there's no more material for season 3. But this season literally comes with this factor. So here's what happened. So after we graduate, summer comes along, and I prove that I'm a privileged shinobi. After Lily, Allie gets me her number, and Lily, so all things are going great, and I earned my own specific style. I had my own new songs in my iPod. I had Mr. Fab, Hella Dumb. I had so many good slaps, and Lily, I had this and that. But something Lily was not missing, but something added on to my story in order for it to be missing. Meaning that Justin had this elaborate scheme to say that I don't have a solid archetype, that I'm miscellaneous, and that's why I can't, actually stand up to him, because of he is a master of one thing and I am miscellaneous. So it goes on like this. So I get into Justin's house. The very first thing that happens is he has his friend named Andre. So if you go watch Justin's sidekick Pedro, there was another guy named Andre. So me, Andre, and Justin went ding dong ditching one day, and literally we got caught by a guy. By a girl who my brother thought was a slut when he was in high school, and literally fucking like Andre was talking shit like, "Yo, that house is hella ghetto and this and that." So we go to the house, and we ding dong ditch the house. And she comes up hella hyphy. She checks us. She's all like, "Yo, we have hidden cameras and this and that." And after Andre was talking all that shit, we knew we were wrong for Ding Dong Dixon. So I pop out of nowhere after she got done scolding us. I'm like, "Wow, they have hidden cameras. How ghetto is that?" And he's like, "Man, shut the fuck up. You don't know shit." Like Lily. So Andre attempts to drive me to the side. He's all like, "Well, what you supposed to be thinking there is, oh, well, they have hidden cameras. That's so cool. Not, feeling the need to correct me on my bullshit," is literally what Andre fucking said. But he didn't say that last part, did he? But he's quicker on the draw. He can make a roast on spot. And it takes me ammo to get that. So you know what that means? If I have the same knowledge of the situation, that means he's not going to win. So that is the premise of this video. What it is Justin needed a running gag. He needed a new gig in order to put himself back in the swing, but it ended freshman year. So literally, this mini arc where I'm dealing with Justin is how I'm hanging out with him. I realized that anything is better than being alone. Yes, I understand. If people see me by myself, I'm not alone, because I have a shitload of perspective, and I have people there when I need them, not on spot. Unlike Andre and Justin, is the whole reason why this thing didn't play out. Like Andre and Justin used to have this thing where they used to go to Pismo Beach, and literally they used to scold me about fighting and this and that. So this is all summer school. So this is how it starts off. We start about fighting. He's like, "Man, I grew up with fighting," and so literally they try to explain to her I can't beat Andre in a fight because he grew up fighting, but I never actually fought him. Yeah, absorb that before we move on. Okay, so any fucking way, what happened was this. So they kept on talking about fighting this and that. And literally, there was this time where Andre's like, "You know why I didn't fight Justin when he pushed me up against the wall and stuff like that? Was because he was calm and I wasn't." Which is a very good thing to say on paper, but in actuality, you can fuck somebody up when you're mad, because they can block their face all they fucking want. But if you're faster and you have more to drive as a person, you're gonna fuck them up. You're gonna break their block. You're gonna hit them in areas where they're not blocking because you don't fucking care. And going around risk free and you are being multidimensional, they're not going to beat you. I'm sorry. The best defense is a good offense, which is why it was a whole bunch of reverse psychology. And these white people did this and that. He's like, well, literally, like, Eris is dumb because he doesn't kick in the fight. I'm like, what? Literally. He's like, well, you see them playing games and all that stuff like that. We kick when we fight. We don't do this now. Literally, they're saying all this heavy shit. Literally, but that's the premise of the video. I'm going to get you warmed up for the comedy, but I'm trying to tell you, that is the premise. That's the way they think. Literally, he's like, oh, fuck this other shit. We're going to do shit that's going to guarantee it. When Isaiah said the same, every single time I talk to a white person about fucking fighting, they always add kicks. And literally, Isaiah's like, you don't know how effective a kick is. I'm like, no fucking duh, but that's why you're fucking stupid. I may have, like, an oath to myself. I only kick where I get jumped. And that's about it. Like, literally, other than that, I'm a fair fighter. I only kick when it's an emergency. So, let's get on to when I enter Justin's so-called palace, which really is a fucking dump. And literally, that is so much of a piece of shit. Andre had every fucking right to swing on Justin, but he's like, I would lose the fight. I'm like, well, it's because Justin is willing to cheap shot you is why you would win, is how I view the situation. So, literally, it got down to a point where, literally, Justin kept on roasting. I'm like, dude, I need you to stop. Like, is there anything else you do? He's like, why? It's just cap Eris. So I'm like, well, you know I can't cap back. He's like, I know, and that's the best part. There was so much fucking shit, like, went down. Like, Justin is so fucking two-faced. I drove him just side of him and his mom were nodding their head while I'm telling them the story about how I used to be in special ed and how literally fucking, when I graduated, they took the fucking fence out. There was a fence between the regular ed and the special ed, and like, you literally had to have good behavior to go beyond this fence. They still see you behind the fence. They still view you as an animal and shit like that. And so I tried to say, man, you don't know where I come from, man. I grew up with helmet heads. He's like, so you grew up with penises, basically. It was so fucking horrible. I was literally tolerating the most shit to hang out, and I realized anything is better than being alone. That's a universal concept. You have to understand what actually being alone is. If you're fucking fooling yourself 24/7, if you're laughing at your own jokes, if nobody's supporting your fucking statement, and you're still rolling with it, and you're still having fun, that's being alone. That's literally being absorbed in your own fucking bullshit. That's you literally thinking you're shit when you know you're fucking not, but you know you're gonna have something to fall back on. Oh, I'm just gonna fucking eat these fucking junk food and fucking talk shit all day, but when somebody tries to call me out on it, I'm gonna ignore it. I'm gonna fucking make sure he's not in there crazy so I can stay in my bubble. And you understand there's a whole lot of shit going on, so literally, so I get in, and literally, he's making all these fucking jokes. They're drinking Monster on top of Monster. They even ordered Monsters from different fucking countries to try to compete with me, and they did as something cool. They were playing shit like Skate 2 and listening to Hollywood Undead. They were listening to rap fucking core. Literally, white boys with the banjos, literally, doing covers for Eazy-E songs. Literally, fucking white boy covers from mainstream rap. And literally, I listening to a song, they're drinking Monsters, literally, they're cracking jokes, and all of a sudden, I listen to, they start playing Bitches from Hollywood Undead, and I'm like, I'm so fucking mad, this is some really good music, but guess what, that was the only good song they fucking had. And so literally, all the other times, they were playing this shit called The Devil Wears Prada, which is a really bad band, but I guess it's good on paper. Like, I understand, like, the way they use their instruments is kind of hacks, but I don't like screamo music, and Hollywood Undead Bitches was the only good song that they fucking played, but they had shitload Devil Wears Prada. Like, oh, Hollywood Undead's the best. Oh, we're going to work tour. Oh, sorry, Eris, you can't come. Literally, they were doing shit on top of shit on top of shit, and I'm trying to tell you, this literally taught me that when you choose a shitty friend instead of having standards, this is what happens. So literally, fucking, I was so fucking desperate, and literally, fucking, even Justin was all like, you know how Max, if you go back to Max's Chance video, he was all like, fucking, you say that Max is literally stupid for dropping out of Boy Scouts and playing hockey. I'm sorry, Eris, but hockey's badass. The ignorance of that boy was on another level. And literally, it went down to this, and went down to that, and literally, so it's fucking stupid. So they started talking shit on top of shit on top of shit. So here's what happened. So, fucking Andre had his little brother Sam over. If you explained in the last video, he tried to pair me up for Sam, try to use reverse psychology because Sam is taller than Justin. But Sam is scrawny, and Sam is still younger, and they tried to pull this shit over me. So Andre had 3 of his brothers over at Andre's house. He had David, a punk rock guy with blue hair. He had Sam. So David's the oldest, and David was the funniest. And literally, I would say shit like "fuck." He's like, "Shut the fuck up before I fuck you up, you fucking fuck bag." Literally, that was literally David was the fucking funniest. And fucking Sam would call me out, literally, fucking doing dumb shit. But at the same time, he knew Andre was a piece of shit. So what happened is I paired up with Sam because they knew that they couldn't see me in the fight. So they paired me up with Sam, the tallest guy who was the youngest in the fucking group. And so literally what happens is this. So me and Sam go at it, and Sam lands a couple of hits. But if the fight were dragged on, I would have won. But because I was evenly matched and because I didn't knock him out right away, is why they said, "Oh, you can't even beat my brother, so you have no right to talk shit, Eris. You have no right to do this and that. You are a fucking piece of shit." Well, I just squared up with Ben. I just squared up with Max Chance. I just did all this shit in 8th grade. And you are gaslighting me saying that I lost to Sam. And so David, his oldest brother, drives me to the side. He's like, "You know what's the truth about that situation? Sam used to fight me. And he used to fight Andre. And you're going to figure out why in a minute." So it got down to a point where Justin was so out of pocket, taking advantage of that he was the only fucking guy next door. And so literally fucking, he's like, "You want to hang out with us, Eris?" Literally, go outside and yell, "I love penis!" And I actually went outside and yelled, "I love penis!" And I was expecting to get social validation out of it. Like somebody like fucking Livingstone will get tons of validation and tons of fucking friends from it. But me, no, because it will give me an opportunity. Like, they don't want to give me an opportunity at all. They want to keep on giving me L's and L's and L's and no reward. And so literally Justin thought he was so smart. He's like, "Well, you know, the majority of the neighbors think you're gay now." I learned that as you get older, that a whole lot of people take L's at that, but they gain something from it. But I wasn't gaining something from it, and that's why it was bad. It's just me saying it, it's not me actually doing it. I read this thing literally online that literally some celebrities actually suck dick to get famous. Some, not all, but that literally is what some people do. And this is a beautiful fucking lesson because literally I got inside, I got tired of dealing with Justin shit. So what happened is he got cocky because of my fake spar with Sam. So literally Justin drives me outside and he pretends to knee me. He's like, "Come on, Eris, you want to go?" So he tries to knee me, he tries to do this and that, but it's on the phone in the fake. So he's doing everything that they're saying in the conversation, but it's not working because I'm not staying still. So instead of falling for his trap, I tackle him on the ground. And literally I hug him from the back and his nose starts bleeding. And he's like, "Huh, my nose is bleeding." With his white boy self, he's like, "My nose bleeds very easily." All those fucking excuses, all those fucking gaslighting, it didn't fucking mean shit. Now, this is all before he tries to hit me in the head with a bat. After all that shit's going on, literally, yes, this is all during that time. Literally, he literally spamming Warped Tour on my face, saying I don't know anything about real rap. Literally playing rap core, literally white boy saying ghetto shit, but it's still using acoustics. It's still white boy shit. So literally, fucking Justin's literally got out of pocket, so fucking out of pocket to the point where literally there was this one fucking time where literally he tried calling me out. He's like, "Okay, Eris, you want to go? You want to go?" Like literally, he's standing behind the fence. He's literally, and I'm all like, "Why? I already called you out. I already made your nose bleed." In my head, but I'm like, nah, I'll pass. He's like, "Oh, so you just gonna pussy out? Are you gonna be a man or you gonna pussy out?" And I'm like, "I'll pussy out." And he's like, "Wow, Eris." And there was literally this fucking time where literally I started hanging out with some little girls, literally fucking some 10-year-old fucking girls because I couldn't hang out with Justin. And I realized everything's better to be alone. Literally, so fucking after they say I'll lose to Sam, literally before I fucking start fighting Justin and shit, before I make Justin's nosebleed, I start hanging out with little girls, and so it's better not to be alone. And I figured out that, but this is back when I'm in 7th grade and shit, fucking 8th grade going into freshman, and so literally fucking, like, I'm training these little girls, like, they're my little minions and shit, like, literally, I'm asking them if they want to do kung fu fights just to have fun, and so literally, so Andre's like, "Man, fuck out of here, like, those girls would roast you." I'm like, "Yep, they would," and literally, fucking Andre, literally, his face turned red because I accepted everything that they fucking told me. I accepted the lie that they told me. And I'm like, "Yep, they would." It sounded exactly like they would say. You know why? Because I'm just trying to fit in, and I realize anything is better than being alone. And they suffer from it because we're trying to gaslight this guy saying that he ain't shit. Yet he's saying what we're fucking saying in the form of the way you're doing things is better because you're having more fun, but you're not being responsible. You're not owning up to your bullshit, so you have this constant circus act that's literally getting in the way of your fucking development, and that's why they suffered from it. And literally, it got down to a point where fucking Justin talked to Andre. It's like, whenever me and Eris was fighting yesterday, it looked like he was dry humping me from the back. I'm like, All those fucking excuses. You see how he tried to add shit and it didn't mean anything because it was too much of a haymaker. The fact was too heavy in order for him to lie anymore. Your nose is bleeding, buddy. You would've got rocked. And literally, all that shit talking about how you can beat me in a fight this, how you can beat me in a fight that, is literally, so when it came down to it, the final time we were able to interact is literally when he did decide to screw up, he brought a mini A's baseball bat. And literally, I still showed him that I could beat him in every way, shape, or form. And then God gets in my head after literally, he hits me in the head with a bat, I fall down, I get back up, I grab one of the planks in his uncle's truck, and literally, I'm like, you want to grab a weapon? So me and him, he's like, oh shit. And so now we have equal cards, huh? So now he decided to run. And then I threw the board and it hit his back. And literally, the whole time, God's like, well, this is what it was the entire time. All those fucking words, but when it came down to his actions, he didn't back it up, did he? Stop wasting your time. They were fucking roasting me throughout that entire fucking thing. Literally, Sam's like, oh, like, have you been on RedTube.com, Eris? Literally, fucking roasting, fucking this and that. Literally, all these fucking guys roasted me. So you're telling me that, like, I was literally telling them, there was this time where me and Ben were watching porn, and there was a fucking horse, and literally fucking, you can see his dick going all the way up and down her stomach. And literally fucking, I would start rolling. So he's like, so you're saying that you and Ben laugh and you watch porn like, ah, I'm jerking his hand in the air, fucking making fun of me and shit, literally. But literally, he wouldn't say that to Ben's face, huh? And you have to absorb that apart about the situation. Literally, it got down to a point where out of nowhere, fucking, they said I had no personality, said this and that. So on a random day, where they're not talking shit, when they ran out of ammo, I raised my hand in the air, and I'm all like, I watch porn on my PS3. And literally, they started fucking dying, and they tried to deny that that wasn't a heavy punchline. And literally, fucking, that's God telling you, if I do something amazing like that and they still don't give me credit and they still put me in the same position and they still treat me the same, that means I'll never get through to them. So you have to leave those people alone. You have to literally let them self-destruct. And guess what happened? I became the superstar of my freshman year in high school, back when there wasn't a biased environment, back when everybody was due to know me. It was a universal concept and I was accepted by everyone. And literally, the same thing with fucking 8th grade. They had to dumb down, and literally try to post in white boy shit in order to try and outclass me. You didn't outwork me, you outclassed me. That's the difference. That is a huge... You can have the best grades in that fucking class, but if the teacher is racist and the teacher is biased, literally, do you have a foundation to work against him? Do you have connections that he does? Because if he's willing to make childish mistakes, he's willing to have childish people to back up his statement. You have to understand that, like, literally, after you put in that much effort, it's time for you to leave. Like, literally, if you literally go all out like that and you get nothing from it, there's no benefit coming from that situation. And that is why it was self-explanatory. That is why he kept on doing it. All because I was the MVP of 8th grade. I was getting numbers on top of numbers at the end of the year. I was doing good. And that's why Justin had that whole setup. He had that monster running gag. Literally, I'm just going to drink this fucking carbonated soda and literally make jokes at your expense. Fucking do skateboarding, do shit that I know that you can't do. Talk about shit that you can't relate to in order to make you jealous and shit like that. But what if I actually met you halfway and met you at your level? What if I actually tried to roast Andre like how I roast you? Like, what if I actually literally... I made an example. What if me and Andre actually went shadowboxing? They never actually gave a physical example of what the fuck they were saying. And the first time they tried, they died. And you have to understand that. So, this is Justin's Monster Obsession. And this is Justin's video for Season 2.